Hey, so I'm a deep thinker and I don't be having nobody to talk to deeply with, about my thoughts. So here I am and I want to talk about death respectfully, like funerals and the ceremony and stuff like that. I've always been fascinated with the afterlife and you know, us as humans and just everything about life and death and stuff. And I want to look at the theory of funerals and what we're actually mourning. And I feel like we don't pay for the dead. I feel like the dead pays for our sanity because the reality is we don't really need a funeral. We don't need a casket. We don't need makeup. We don't need bombing fluid. We don't need to preserve our bodies because we're dead. I don't think we would care about it because we are dead. Shoot, personally, I wouldn't really want nobody to see me dead, but I mean, that's because I just have a huge fear of dying and also being seen in ways that I can't control. So I feel like, everyone wouldn't really want to be seen like that, you know, but in reality, the body decomposes and I feel like that's it. When we decompose, we go back to nature in the soil. And I feel like our mind just can't tolerate that. Like, our mind cannot comprehend how fast and how instantly it all just goes away. We live in like a fairy tale lie, respectfully, every day and forget the biggest paradox of it all, that life is not permanent. And the mind just can't comprehend impermanence, I feel like. And we take a lot of things for granted and pretend that life is forever and people are forever and time is forever. And our mind doesn't think that far until it all comes crashing down. And even then, we still can't believe it. So, are we paying for their funeral? Or are we paying for ours? I think that the problem is we always want to have control, be in control, and we've realized that we don't have that much control over anything and barely ourselves. And when we realize that, our brain just doesn't want to accept it. So we need the casket or something to make it seem like they're still there, that they're still somewhere accessible and we can still visit them. We just have to know that they are still somewhere. We want this to have a meaning and we want that to have a purpose, but we don't really care about the reality. I'm not saying that the body doesn't matter. I'm saying that the body is not the person. The body allows us to exist, to express ourselves, to experience life, to feel, to be felt, but the physical vessel itself is not actually who we are. Just like when we go to sleep, we're here but not there. So, when we go to sleep, we're still laying there, but where do we actually go? You know? Just like when someone has dementia, they're there but they're not there. So where did they go? Why does an obituary say in loving memory? I feel like that tells us that we don't think about or miss, the physical parts of them. Like, when we think about somebody, we don't think about someone's liver when we're talking to them. We don't think about someone's bones and lungs when we think about them. We miss their pattern, their essence, the way they kept being them while time kept going forward, while their body slowly aged, while the world and the weather and everything else kept going and changing, and how they went to sleep and woke up each day with the same pattern of voice, of memory, the way they walked, the impact they had, their laugh, their influence, and all of that is not physical. So, what are we laying to rest? Respectfully.